Hey everybody, I'm Jesse, and welcome to another edition of Gen X Thinks. And today I'm going to talk more about the twisted logic on the left. And we could say that the left doesn't use logic at all. And I'm not really fond of those kind of terms, left and right and Republican and Democrat and all this stuff. That's, in my opinion, those are that's just language used to divide us. Think about it in these kind of terms. What is left and right now? Who is the far right? We don't even know anymore. They're just like a vague, kind of misty ghost presence over there. We don't even know who the far right is. We know who the far left is. That's obvious. But who is the far right? Now, from the left, if you're on the left, everybody's the far right. I mean, all normal people, just average common sense people, they're all far right. We're far right to them. But to us, who is the far right? What is it over there? Now, when I was a kid in the 80s, far right, it was easy. They were the big corporate heads, the CEOs, the warmongers, the corporate profiteers, the misogynists, the racists. There were these big rich people, oil barons and all this stuff. I mean, those were far right Republicans. That's what it was. But now all of those things have shifted over to the left. Now the left is all about war, corporate greed, monopolies, all this stuff, and the sexism, misogyny, that's all over on the left. It's just been rewrapped, repackaged, and rebranded. Because back in the 80s, if a man walked into a woman's bathroom and just told the women in there, this is mine now, this is my space now, get out if you don't like it, he would have been branded as a misogynist. He probably would have been thrown in jail, and in my opinion, rightly so. It just would have been abhorrent behavior, and it would have been far right because he was just, taking over a woman's space and removing her from her space. And it was misogyny, period. A man who likes and respects women does not behave that way, period. It's not even confusing at all. But now, today, men on the far left do that. They just do that. That's okay. And they are progressive. They are a marginalized group. So we hear. They're marginalized. They're not misogynists. They're not being hateful toward women. They're just expressing themselves and living their truth, right? So this is the kind of logic all they've done is move all that hateful crap from the far right over to the far left and rebranded it in the move. Now to call it progressive and liberal and, all about love and peace now. You go in there and you're, shaving in the woman's stall. That's because you're in favor of love and peace and all this stuff. You want to, go to war over there and cause the deaths of thousands of people. That's in the name of peace and love and democracy now. Democracy. Yeah, we kill people for love and peace and democracy now. We don't kill people for war, profiteer anymore. That's not how it is. And those of us who think that killing people over there might not be the most loving act in the world, we're all far right now. We're way over on the right. We're bigots. We're racists. It's all lunacy. But in this segment, I'm going to talk about a few things because I run across them online once in a while. and a few of the things that are said on the left that sound good, you know, when you first read them, when you first glance at them, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. But if you think about it for just a little bit, you'll dig up all the twisted backwards logic, and a lot of times it's completely 180 degrees versus the truth. It's completely opposite of the truth. One thing I hear a lot is that we're all descendants of immigrants. And this is in defense of illegal immigration, all this immigration that's going on. And when you first read that, you're like, oh man, that makes sense. My parents or grandparents or great-grandparents or whatever, they did immigrate over here, right? That's true. Well, there's not, but they immigrated legally. That's the whole point. This whole thing about immigration is legal versus illegal. Okay? Our ancestors immigrated over here legally, according to the laws that were written down at the time. Our grandparents immigrated legally. They didn't sneak across the border and start committing crimes and setting up gangs and cartels over here. They immigrated legally and entered the workforce and integrated into society and became Americans as quickly as possible. They adopted American culture, and we're all Americans now. We don't call ourselves, by some of my ancestors immigrated from Germany. I do not call myself a German or a German American or anything. I'm an American. They didn't come over here and try to separate themselves from America and set up a little culture of their own. They didn't come over here and set up a little gang or mafia or anything like that. They come over here and they went to work, got Social Security numbers, got jobs, whatever they had to do, and they probably didn't have Social Security numbers back then. They might have, I don't know, I'll have to look that up. But anyway, the point is that it was legal. It was legal. Not only that, but there was a boom in manufacturing and stuff back then. They needed labor. The corporations in America, the manufacturing system needed labor, and they paid well for it. There were a lot of high-paying, good jobs in America that were just waiting to be filled. Nowadays, it's different. It's completely different. We don't have enough jobs for the Americans who are already here. And that's what keeps these wages down, is all these illegal immigrants coming over here willing to live, 10, 15 people in one apartment or one trailer and go out and get these minimum wage jobs. But that's exactly what the corporations want, because they don't like our culture where we want, one house per family, and we demand a decent wage because we value our time and our lives more than these illegal immigrants coming across. Now, if we didn't have this, who would pick the apples? Okay. Who would pick the apples? Well, they've got one of two choices. Raise the prices of the labor to attract American workers, whether it be, college students just, wanting to make a few bucks on the side, or maybe some just manual labor type of workers. But they'd have to raise the wages to attract them. So then they'd have to raise the price of apples by a little bit. I mean, it's not going to be like $5 an apple, but the price of apples would go up a little bit. Either that, or they'd have to take a cut in their profits, not their not their standard of living. They're still going to have their mansion. They're still going to, Del Monte's going to be just fine. They're not going to crumble and collapse. They're just going to take a cut on their profits. Their profit margin is going to be just a little bit slimmer next year. Their stockholders are going to be a little less happy. This is what people don't understand. This isn't about, some company is going to fold and go under because they have to raise wages. This is about profit margins and stock points. That's it. That is it. It is about the bottom line. And a lot of times it's not about, oh, my profits are going to go down. That's not it. Their profits won't increase as much as they projected. Our profits aren't going to increase by 5% this year. They're only going to increase by 1.3%. This is the kind of shit that just disgusts me. That these companies, they have to increase their profits every year. They can't just make a living like everybody else. They've got to increase. And you look into corporate law, I mean, it gets really messed up, because by law they have to do that. A corporation has to do that. It's got to look out for its bottom line. It's got to make more and more and more money. It's like a machine, like a robot that's just consuming more and more and more. It has to, by law. So, and then you get people's greed in there too, and there's no stopping that machine except to kill it, to break it down into its smaller components. So yeah, it's there's this whole smoke screen, this whole fallacy about immigration, and that immigration, and not all immigration is good. Illegal immigration is bad. It's bad for us. It's bad for the American worker. It's bad for the American economy. The only thing it's good for is the huge corporations who are increasing their profits. It's not even good for the immigrants. They're living in slum. A lot of them are being sold into human trafficking. A lot of them are just barely making it by, starving. They get here, and I guarantee you that they don't get this big slice of the American pie that they were thinking they were going to get. They don't get this American dream that they're tricked into believing in. They really find out that the American dream is a hoax. But hell, to turn around and go back 10,000 miles to wherever they came from, that's not an option. They barely made it here. This whole system is rigged. We don't know what those people are told down there. Oh, you're gonna be living like, an episode of Miami Vice. You're gonna be living like an episode of the Kardashians. I've never seen an episode of the Kardashians, but you get the point. They're lied to down there. They're talked into coming up here. They're tricked into getting on planes or trains or whatever, or just setting out on foot because of this huge American dream. And they get here and they gotta pick apples and do all this hard manual labor for less than minimum wage a lot of times, because it's already illegal. So the companies will just pay them under the table, and they'll pay them less than they're legally obligated to pay an American. It's sickening. We don't want them here, and after they get here, a lot of times they don't want to be here, but it's too late for them. So all this pro-immigration shit, yes, we are pro-immigration. We're pro-legal immigration. All of the good, hardworking people who understand what America is about, and they're willing to go through what it takes to become an American and actually become an American. They do that. They become American. Those are the people we want here. Bring them over. We love immigration. We love immigrants. This nation is built on immigration. Legal immigration. Not slave labor under the guise of immigration. Here's another one I keep seeing. To those accustomed to privilege, equality feels like oppression. All right? Now, this kind of bullshit, this is this 1984 twisted woke speak, stuff to try to get people to hate another group of people, and like we're all privileged, right? We're privileged, and they're privileged. Anytime you hear the term privilege now, it's white privilege. They're not talking about all these rich black people's kids or these rich Hispanic people's kids. They're just talking about white people, and we all know it. They're talking about white people. So to us white people, equality feels like oppression. I'm being oppressed because someone else is equal. And I really, really need someone to point out to me where all this inequality is. Where is all this inequality? Where do these people... I'm literally working 7 days a week to pay my bills and doing these videos to try to make my life a little better and to help Western civilization and our culture. And I'm barely paying my bills, and I'm not crying about it. Where is all this inequality? Where are all these people who are so unequal to me, who are so far down below me that they can't work? They're not even allowed to work 7 days a week to pay their bills. Is that it? Is that where the inequality is? Anybody, I did a video the other day, anybody can go online right now and fill out some stuff and work for themselves. It's so easy now, it's pathetic. It's just in people's minds, they think they can't. In my opinion, everyone should just work for themselves, do their own thing. 90% of people could do their own thing and make their own living just working for each other, and just trade the money for each other. This one isn't specific toward a certain group of unequal people. Is it supposed to be women or people of color or trans, any of these so-called marginalized groups, right? Now, I see plenty of rich women. I do work for women all the time with a lot of money, doing handyman stuff. I do work for black people all the time who've got a lot of money. I do work for, I haven't done work for any transgender people, I don't think, but still, it's not, there's no kind of inequality there in my personal experience, where it's only straight white men that have the finances to hire a handyman. Hardly any straight white men, in my experience, hire handymen. A lot of them just do it themselves, or, they don't have the money to hire a handyman. What really irritates me about this is that this is probably some poor bastard posting this kind of shit, and he is, or she is, pointing the finger at other poor bastards in the same predicament that they're in. Pointing across at the same people, the same hardworking people, the same people struggling to get by, and saying you're the problem because you're privileged. When it's these huge corporations and useless, completely lacking skill government politicians, they're the problem. These multi-millionaire politicians who have done nothing but destroy this country and sell us down the road, they are the problem. They have no skills. They donate nothing to our society. They don't pay their share in taxes. So they've got it all completely twisted around, like just your average hardworking person is scared to death of equality. Hell, I wish all these other people laying up on the government leg, sucking on the government tit, would get up off their asses and get a job, do something for themselves, become handymen like me, or handy persons, handy women, whatever. Handy Trans, start an app right now, Handy Trans. People will hire you if people would just get up off their asses and do something instead of pointing the finger at the somebody who is actually trying to do something for themselves. This world, how much better place would this world be? We all pay taxes for these people who do absolutely nothing, and then they want to point at us and call us the problem when they should be pointing the finger at the politicians they elected and these huge monopolies that they support. And here's another one on that same topic. White privilege is real, even though you've amounted to little despite of it. So I'm working 7 days a week, just barely paying my bills, despite white privilege, right? That's not proof so that's that reverse logic. All right. So I'm a piece of shit, even though there's white privilege, I'm double shit because there's all this white privilege. People are just throwing money at me as they pass me in their car. I get free shit all the time when I go to the store. Just, people call me sir everywhere I go. When I go into the bank, the lines part, and everywhere I go, just because of my whiteness, right? And I'm still struggling in spite of all that. That's what they're saying. So I'm double shit. Just, the people, only the white ones now, the white people who are really successful, highly successful, and, have a couple 100 million in the bank, they're just better than me. I got the same privilege they do. You know what I'm saying? I've got the same exact privileges as all the rich white people. I could have just walked into Harvard and got a degree if I wanted to, even though my dad was a drunk and a horse trainer, but he had the same connections in Harvard as whoever's dad. He just decided not to use them because he was too stupid. White privilege is probably the most ridiculous thing that I've ever heard of, honestly. There is rich people privilege and there's the rest of us. All struggling, all fighting for our little piece of the pie down here, and to point at another ant and say you're the problem and ignoring the broom that's knocking all of y'all off is just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. So whatever your political inclination, your religious inclination, whatever that is, the next common man, the next common person, I say man a lot as in humanity, mankind. The next common person, McDonald's worker who's having a bad day, or, anybody, just your common average person on the streets next to you, they're not the problem. Whether you're white and they're black, whether you're atheist and they're Christian, whether you're black and they're white, none of that shit matters. We're not oppressing each other. We're just trying to live our lives and hold on to as much freedom as we can. And if I can hold on to that freedom, then I've held on to it for you too. Because there is equality. If I have freedom, you have freedom, no matter what color you are in America right now. No matter what religion you practice, no matter what you want to claim as your gender, if I have freedom, you have it. We're just out here struggling right next to each other, and the powers that be have us fighting against each other. And that is just the flat out truth. And until people start waking up to that shit, we're going to continue to fight against each other and blaming each other for this shit. Just the manipulation, the lies, the coercion, the brainwashing. We got to start waking up and stop hating the wrong people. And I'm not anti-hate. I'm anti a lot of shit, but I'm not anti-hate. Hate those sumbitches. Hate them. They're destroying the world. So we need to vote them out of office. We need to boycott their bullshit products made in China and get this, all of Western civilization, but America in particular, because I'm American, and get our country back on track. Back where it's supposed to be. Make apple picking a job that people would want because it pays well enough. Young people would like to go out and pick apples in the beautiful weather, and rather than be, there's a lot of people who would. I would much rather do physical work than be by myself out in the open sunshine and the fresh air than be harassed by some asshole in an office. That's just, if I could go pick apples and make plenty of money doing it, I'd do it rather than go sit in an office with a bunch of, bunch of office people, I guess. So let's get our priorities straight and get back to the basics of normal civility and humanity toward each other, and direct our animosity towards the people who deserve it. And this next one is it's more about women, but I want to make sure that I say that it's not about all women. All right? There are plenty of good conservative women out there. But as I looked at the demographics from the election we just had a lot of Gen Z come out and vote for Trump, but almost all of them were men. Gen X were split, pretty much 50-50. But Gen Z, these younger women, are mostly on the left. All right? And they're going to have to do some growing up to move to the center with the rest of us. But right now, they're on the left. A lot of that is, I don't know why that left stuff is so attractive for young females, young women of every color, of every whatever, religious denomination, whatever. There's no other demographic. It's just females, women are attracted to this stuff. Why? I don't know. But men seem to be more conservative at a younger age. Now, most people get more conservative as they grow older. But here's the one I read. Why do men say they're okay when they aren't? All right. These younger women, this goes to the feeling thing, right? Everything is about feelings on the left. These feelings, you feel, you're hurt, you hurt my feelings. Now words are violence and all this stuff. And when a man says he's okay because he doesn't want it, because it looks like something's bothering him, men say they're okay because they're okay. We're not on a gurney dying of cancer. We don't have 40 hours to live. I don't have blood skirting out of my neck. So I'm okay. I'm going to be here tomorrow. I'm going to get up and go to work tomorrow, no matter what. So I'm okay. And I'm okay because I have to be okay. I don't have a choice because my bills still need to be paid. Shit still needs to get done. Life isn't going to halt for a couple of days for me to not be okay. So I'm okay. I realize this. There's nothing wrong with it. To sit there and worry about feelings and whether, someone's okay is just all these feelings and stuff that we're putting on people and trying to make men drag out all these feelings out of men. That's not okay. If a man says he's okay, he's okay. He said it because he is okay. He's okay. He doesn't need anything. He needs to just wake up tomorrow and go back to work, or go back to school, or go back to doing whatever he's doing. He'll survive. If he wants to talk and cry all over the place and gush all these feelings out, he will. But if he says he's okay, he's okay. We don't need to get into this thing where feelings are running the world and we're reacting and voting and making all of our decisions based on feelings. Feelings will destroy the world. You have to have logic, period. You have to make decisions based on logic. You cannot start a war based on feelings. If I went to work every day based on whether or not I felt like it, I would never go to work because I never feel like it. I never feel like going out in the cold or the heat and busting my ass all day to pay these damn bills. I never feel like it. I always feel like staying home and hanging out with my wife and my dogs. I never feel like doing anything that's good, basically. That's difficult but good. Working to pay the bills, mowing the lawn, just that kind of stuff that's good, but just monotonous and just shit. If it was up to me, my lawn would be 3 feet high, but I've got to mow it. I don't feel like it. I don't feel like going to the grocery store, so I would starve to death. We cannot base all these decisions and base an entire nation on feelings. That is ridiculous, but that's what the left wants. They want all these feelings to be reality. They want all these feelings to be the truth, to be factual. I feel like you're an asshole, so it's a fact, you're an asshole. I feel like you're a liar and a bigot and a racist, so that's a fact, you're a liar, a bigot, and a racist, because that's how I feel. So we gotta quit with all the feelings and shit. Not all the feelings, let's just get back to normal. When you're sad, you're sad, and get over it. When you're hurt, get over it. When you're happy, you're happy. They all come and go. We do not have the power to just make it a fact. I'm happy. I feel like I'm happy. No, stuff is going to happen and make me sad. Stuff is going to happen and piss me off. Stuff is going to happen and make me melancholy, gloomy, every emotion across the spectrum. That's what life is. It's ups and downs. That's why all these young people are getting divorces and shit and having 3 kids because they can't find a partner because they're expecting the other person to make them just continually blissful, continually happy. I'm looking for happiness from another person. You make me happy. That's impossible. You cannot do that. You cannot make another person happy. Happiness is an emotion that derives from within them. If that was the case, you could not be happy by yourself. And I can be, definitely. And I'm sure most of you can be. At the age of, going on or right around 50, you've probably been by yourself a few times and just been happy. At least once or twice in your life. So you know that you don't get your happiness from some external thing. You can be happy living under a bridge or miserable in a mansion. It's just a fact. And to try to make feelings, to make them reality, to make the world how we feel it should be, to make the truth what we feel it should be, that's a bad road. That's a handbasket to hell right there. We've got to get back to reality and logic and abandon all this left woke shit that's going to destroy everything, including facts and reality. And I'll leave you there with that. If you enjoyed this episode, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you'd like to support the channel directly, you can do so by clicking on that super thanks button down there. Or you can head over to Buy Me a Cup of Coffee and buy me a cup of coffee. I appreciate those of you who do that. If you're interested in Gen X gear, you can hop over to Redbubble and check out all the cool stuff we have over there. Gen X Thinks and Gen X branded stuff. T-shirts, coffee mugs, stickers, all kinds of cool stuff over there. But I'll leave that link down in the description too. If you can't or don't want to support the channel in any of those ways, you can always do so by sharing these videos on your social media. I appreciate those of you who do that. It helps out a lot. Thank you very much. And if you have any ideas for future episodes of Gen X Thinks, please put those down in the comments. Or you can head over to the channel page and email us from there. And as always, stay frosty, Gen X, and I'll see you on the next one.